What if the most famous curse in the Bible wasn't a curse at all? For thousands of years, the mark of Cain has been synonymous with punishment, with shame, with the stain of murder that nothing can wash away. Entire theologies have been built on this idea that God looked at the first murderer in human history and branded him like an animal. But what if we've been reading it wrong? What if I told you that the original Hebrew doesn't say what you think it says? That the word translated as mark is the same word God uses for signs of covenant, for promises, for protection? What if the mark of Cain wasn't God's punishment on a killer, but God's shield over a broken man that the whole world wanted dead? Stay with me, because before there was a murder, there were two brothers, and before there were two brothers, there was a family that had already lost everything. Adam and Eve's children were born outside of Eden. Let that settle for a moment. Cain and Abel never saw the garden. They only heard stories about it, a paradise their parents lost. They were raised in the aftermath of the fall, in a world where thorns grew where flowers used to be. Cain, in Hebrew, Cain, his name likely means acquired, or smith, one who shapes and forges. Eve names him with a declaration, "I have acquired a man with the help of the Lord." There's pride in that name, expectation, maybe even the weight of being the firstborn son in a family that desperately needed a new beginning. Abel, Hevel, his name means breath, vapor, something here and then gone. It's the same word the book of Ecclesiastes uses over and over. Hevel, vanity, meaninglessness, mist. His own name is a prophecy no one wanted to read. Both brothers bring offerings to God. Abel brings the firstborn of his flock, the fat portions, the best he has. Cain brings fruit from the ground. And God regards Abel's offering, but not Cain's. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. Generations of preachers have said the problem was what Cain brought: fruit instead of blood, grain instead of a lamb. But the text doesn't say that. Genesis 4:7 makes the issue clear. It wasn't the content of the offering. It was the posture of the heart. Because look at what God does next. He doesn't strike Cain down. And then God says something stunning. He doesn't condemn Cain. He asks him a question. Why are you angry? Why has your face fallen? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? Read that again. God is coaching him, warning him, like a father watching his son walk toward a cliff edge, saying, "You don't have to do this. There is still a way back." But then comes the part that should stop every reader in their tracks. If you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. The Hebrew word for crouching is rovetz. It's the same word used for a predator lying in wait. A lion flattened in tall grass, muscles coiled, eyes locked. God isn't speaking metaphorically here. He's giving Cain a battlefield intelligence report. Something is hunting you, Cain. It's at your door, right now, and it wants to consume you. But you can master it. This is the first explicit depiction of spiritual warfare in all of Scripture. Before any demon is named, before any angel draws a sword, here, in a field east of Eden, God tells a farmer that an unseen predator is stalking him and that he has the authority to defeat it. And Cain ignores the briefing. He walks past the warning, past the open door God held for him, and he says to his brother, "Let us go out to the field." The next verse is the shortest crime scene in history. And when they were in the field, Cain, and then God speaks again. But this time, He doesn't coach, he questions. Where is your brother Abel? Now, God is omniscient. He knows where Abel is. He knows what the ground is soaking up. So why does he ask? Because the question isn't for God's benefit. It's for Cain's. It's the same pattern from Eden. Adam, where are you? God wasn't lost. Adam was. Every question God asks in Genesis is an open door, a chance to confess, to come clean, to choose honesty before the gavel falls. Cain doesn't walk through it. Am I my brother's keeper? And with that, the sentence comes. The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. Cain's identity, the farmer, the one who works the soil, the smith who shapes the earth, is stripped from him. The ground that received his brother's blood will no longer respond to his hands. He's not just exiled from a place, he's exiled from himself. And Cain says something that most translations get dangerously wrong. My punishment is greater than I can bear. But the Hebrew word avon doesn't only mean punishment, it also means iniquity, the guilt itself. Many scholars believe Cain is actually saying, my sin is too great to be forgiven. That's not a complaint. That's a confession of despair. Cain isn't saying God is unfair. He's saying he's beyond rescue. And this is where God does something that should rewrite every... Cain says, whoever finds me will kill me. And God responds, not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, so that no one who found him would attack him. Stop. Read that one more time. The first murderer in human history tells God he's afraid of being murdered. And God, the God of justice, the God who just pronounced judgment, says, I won't let that happen. And he places a mark on Cain. The Hebrew word for mark is oth. It's the same word used for the signs God places in the heavens, the sun, the moon, the stars. It's the same word for the sign of the rainbow covenant with Noah. It's the same word for the sign of circumcision with Abraham. Oth is not a brand of shame. It's a sign of covenant, a divine seal. God didn't mark Cain the way a warden marks a prisoner. He marked Cain the way a king marks an edict, with authority that says, this man is under my jurisdiction. Touch him, and you answer to me. Some scholars argue the mark was visible, a symbol on his forehead or body that warned others to stay back. Others believe it was a spiritual covering, an unseen shield. But the function is the same either way. God wrapped the first killer in divine protection. Not because Cain deserved it, not because the murder didn't matter, but because justice and mercy are not opposites in God's economy. They are two hands of the same God. Cain earned death. He received exile. And inside the exile, hidden within the severity like a seed buried in scorched earth, was a shield, was a promise. This isn't just Cain's story. It's yours. You've done the thing, said the thing, been the thing. And some voice, maybe your own, maybe something crouching at your door, has whispered, you're too far gone. Your iniquity is too great to be forgiven. And if the story ended with the murder, you'd be right. But it doesn't end with the murder. It ends with a mark, a shield, a God who hears the cry of blood from the ground and still places his seal on the one who spilled it. This doesn't erase consequence. Cain still wandered. The ground still resisted him. Abel was still gone. Mercy doesn't delete the weight of what we've done, but it does something consequences alone never can. It says, "You are not beyond my reach. You are not outside my jurisdiction, and I will not let the world destroy what I have not yet finished redeeming." So what do you do when you're standing in your own field, east of everything you've lost, convinced the mark on you is shame? You look closer, because it might not be a brand. What if the most famous curse in the Bible wasn't a curse at all? What if it was the first time in human history that God looked at someone who deserved destruction and chose to build a shield instead? Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, the land of wandering. But he didn't go unprotected. He didn't go unmarked. He went with a sign that said, "Even here, even after this, even you." The mark of Cain wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a pattern that would echo through every page of Scripture that follows. A God who hides mercy inside judgment, who buries seeds in scorched earth, who forges faith not in the light, but in the fire. Because that's the truth. No one tells you about the God of the Bible. He doesn't wait for you to be worthy of protection. He marks you while you're still standing in the field, blood on your hands, convinced you're beyond saving. And he says, "Not so." If this changed how you see this story, there's more where this came from. Subscribe to Faith Through Fire, because the darkest stories in Scripture